Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin. The Irish Spaghetti Podcast. Like and subscribe. Please enjoy the show.
Rolling. 5 seconds of silence, please.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Irish Spaghetti Podcast. We're your hosts, Billy G, Nikki P, Nick, how are you?
It's time.
Bam, baby, hearing those effects, baby. Nice. Was that good?
Oh my God, guys, we have upgrades. We're back.
Yeah. We've been toying with some stuff. We want to bring some new features to the show. Like we said, we always wanted to be like kind of old school radio, like O and A and those guys, and they always had drops and effects and stuff. And we just always thought that was charming, and it brought a lot to the show. So we wanted to introduce that at some point. And buddy, I think we got it.
So moving forward, we're gonna have some sound effects, some interesting little things here and there. We could do stuff with the mics. We could do stuff with the soundboard. We're going to get a setup to where he has the tablet so we can like do it on the fly, if you will. We'll get better and better at it.
Yeah.
We're just debuting it right now, just letting you know that it's there. Always moving forward, always bringing something new. We're back. Let's fucking go, baby.
Absolutely, baby. Here we go, man.
It's
what
fun, man.
56?
54, I think.
54, baby. Okay.
I think it's 54.
Yeah.
You want the echo?
Absolutely.
You want the echo?
Hit me with the echo.
You want the echo?
Episode 54. I got the baseball announcer.
Isn't that fun?
Right,
I can't wait till I have this set up to where I can just reach it real quick and then we can just do it on the fly. So we want to do like a traditional radio show on a podcast, which I don't think anyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be bringing back like sound effects. Also, we have the ability to take calls now. So I'm going to get a second line and get a new number for the show because I don't want to be like harassed, if you will.
Yeah.
We'll get that set up as well. So we want to engage you guys. We're moving forward. We want you to be part of the show. Please stay tuned. Keep watching. If you have any ideas, let us know. But we are doing big things moving forwards.
Yeah.
That being said, what do we have on the docket?
You know what? Speaking, because this ties right into it. Like speaking of drops, the greatest drop man that ever lived was Fred Norris from the Howard Stern Show. And I remember, man, this dude's, they called him the button pusher to kind of like break his balls and stuff like that. Because Fred talked plenty of times, throughout it, but his main, job on the show was doing drops for different stories. He had stuff like that.
Right.
He had something for everything, dude. And I swear to God,
That's
man,
cool,
I
though,
would
man. That's a
lose my
skill.
mind laughing when he would like place the right one, like right in at the right time, dude. Oh my God, it was so fucking funny.
Well, that's what we have to learn.
Yeah.
We have to get good at that.
Yeah, it's the timing and whatnot, which we will. We'll hone this in, But yeah, with Howard Stern in mind, something crazy happened, man.
I just love this shit,
Okay.
man. Sorry. Go ahead.
Wonderful. So Howard Stern for the past, so when everybody, the big COVID-19 scare happened and the world shut down.
Kung flu
Came from China. Disease came from China. They thought it was
the China virus.
Yeah. Then they found out it was lab born and all that, So it's just that whole wild ride.
So we found out what we initially thought it was in the first place that we just deviated away from for 2 years for no reason.
But yeah. Basically, we found out what they were trying to cover up until they couldn't cover it up anymore. So, but one guy that stayed vigilant through the entire thing and long after, I should have had the effect on that, long after was Howard Stern. He was a big voice for vaccines. He had said that, he said, when do people stop, quote, when do people stop telling me about their freedom?
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? Back in the day, you could have said that to him. It was something else. But he said, when are people going to stop telling me about their freedom? Fuck your freedom. If you don't get the vaccine, just die. Now, he's always had a radical voice, and I don't care.
Wow.
That's how he put it. And listen, man.
Fuck your freedom?
Yes.
Just die?
Yes. I'm not shocked by what he said. I'm not taken back. I'm not offended by any of it. I think anybody can have the the right to say whatever they want. The problem is coming from him is where it's weird, because that
you
dude
could
was all
say
about
whatever you
freedom.
want, and then
Yes.
we can critique it.
Exactly. And he had said, he's like, you got all these people, they're not doctors, they don't know about the vaccine. Well, what does that say about your side too? It's like, oh, you should get the vaccine. Well, you're not a doctor neither. These doctors saying this, everybody just kind of had their own point.
Can I make a point?
Yeah.
That doctors also don't know about the vaccine.
Yeah.
So like, hot take, by the way. If you're a doctor, you probably went to medical school. If you're a general physician or just like a regular doctor,
Yeah.
you're not like a vax specialist. You're not like a disease specialist or something like this. Like, you don't create them.
Yeah.
You're a guy who has a general knowledge of medicine, and then you have medicines that you're supposed to prescribe that reps come and sell to you to prescribe to other people. You don't have a deep understanding of how vaccines work and what they do and why they're good and which ones are good and which ones are bad just because you have PhD in front of your name.
Yeah,
That's not true.
You might be able to administer the vaccine, right? But you don't know what's really in it. I mean, you know what I mean?
Most doctors have a very base knowledge of medicine in general. They know the system more than they know about medicine, to be frank.
Yeah.
That's true, man.
Absolutely.
That's why that's like... So, like, when I got sick a few years back, I had, like, some kind of autoimmune condition. I was all messed up. No one could figure out what it was. They basically, like, volleyed me from one specialist to the next to do tests, and nobody had an answer, and no one knew what to do next.
Yeah.
I went to a neurologist, an endocrinologist. I went to a stomach specialist. I went to all different kinds of doctors, ear, nose, and throat doctor and all that stuff. And even, like, the ENTs and the specialists, if you will, they have a very concentrated knowledge in their specific field. And even then, there's good ones and bad ones in their field. Not everyone that has a job is good at it.
Yeah.
And just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're a good doctor. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
What did you do?
I don't know. I don't know why that happened. We have new effects as well. We
Visual effects.
Yeah, we can fold the table whenever. I'll keep
But no, the point is that just because you are a doctor doesn't mean that you're all knowing and all fucking powerful, if you will.
Absolutely.
They don't know everything, man. So it's like, all right, so if you go to a mechanic, there's different types of mechanics, if you will. There's mechanics that know how to work on old cars, ones that know how to work on new cars. I met mechanics that only work on BMWs.
Yeah.
And even then, there's like degrees of them.
Yeah,
they're not all perfect. Yeah.
The European specialist and whatnot, absolutely. And then there's a guy that could take out your radiator, put it back in, and some old model.
I don't know
Chevy or
why we
something.
just put them all in one base category of like doctor, and then now you're at the highest knowledge
Yeah.
possible just because you have doctor in front of your name.
Yeah.
Like they're. All right, so I'm a server. All right, I just started waiting tables again after 16 years, maybe like 8 months ago, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm not as good as someone that's been doing it in fine dining for the last 5-6 years.
Absolutely.
And we have the same title in front of our names.
Yeah.
There's degrees of aptitude.
Well, the title stays the same, but you're not going to get this.
So expert is like this vague blanket umbrella term that basically means nothing. It just means just trust me.
Yeah.
That's how it sounds to me.
Well, that's how the news always describes people as expert says. I'd love to see what their experts have done and, what kind of time they put in there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's so silly, man.
Where's your Nobel Prize?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
Howard Stern.
So he was saying, he was like, oh, man, I was by the way, he was back to work in a week, just like fucking everybody else that got it that year. So here's how this went down. So he stayed in his house all those years. He has a very young wife. Everybody knows it, Beth Ostrowski, the model. He kept that woman inside his giant house. Now, although a giant house, it's practically a prison because he had rules for her too. You know what I mean? She was not to see anybody. When they did go out, think about this, man. To be Howard Stern's friend, and you're a celebrity too at this point because he doesn't hang out with any of the regular people. He doesn't hang out with any of the Joe Schmoes anymore, right? To be Howard Stern's friend, if you were going to see him, you first had to do a COVID test to make sure you're okay. And when you're walking through the door, you had to get your fever taken and all this, blah, blah, blah. This, that. The precautions that this man went through was insane. And he still managed to contract COVID-19. He was sick for a little bit. He came back in a week. I'm sure his body's stronger from it now. Dude's 70-something years old. Even in, the age range where it's dangerous, where they were telling us it's dangerous, real young, real old, blah, blah, blah. He's fine. And this fool went on, man. And I don't know
He's up to his ears in booster shots.
Exactly. Quintuple boosted, 5 times over.
He should be immortal at this point with the amount of boosters the guy fucking got.
The first vaccine that needs boosters for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly true, but I never heard of getting one over and over and over again. I mean, polio was eradicated, right? So he does all this and he still contracts and he's fine. fine. He's doing okay. Now, I was asking Nick this before the show. I don't know why he went on with this message. He comes back on the radio. Yesterday was his first day back, and he says, I want to thank God for the people at the vaccine company for creating this and helping so many Americans. He said, if I didn't have the vaccine, I would probably be dead. He's like, I was sick. I was
Based
so sick.
on
what?
Based on what?
Yeah.
Based on what?
A good guess? Like, are you kidding me? And I don't know. I've heard that more people tend to have more complications with the vaccine than the ones that don't.
Sure. Well, there's all kinds of information coming out that there are side effects and
Yeah.
people are getting injured from it. I'm not saying not to take it. What I'm saying is don't be a diehard rider for it and not know what the fuck you're talking about. And then judge people and mock people and berate people and talk down to people when you yourself have no idea what you're talking about. And then you get it, and that's your only recourse is to say, well, if I didn't have the vaccine, it would have been worse based on nothing. Dude, just apologize, man.
You know, I just realized
Howard Stern's like desperate ploy to stay relevant is very embarrassing.
And for the record, let me just
say
say
it's like Madonna.
Right
It's like
now.
just right off into the sunset. You had a great career, man.
Yeah.
You're 1,000 years old. Let it go. You did it. Goodbye. Make room for the next generation.
Yeah, this hanging around is kind of just sad now. He's
Hanging
just
around.
Destroying his legacy.
Around.
Yeah.
The kid's got alligator blood. Do you remember that? Rounders?
Yeah.
Teddy KGB?
Give him his money. He beat me.
He
straight
beats
up.
me.
I love that. God, he's so good. Hey, man, you know what I was just wondering? Though?
What?
Let me just say this right now for anybody listening. God, if you're running over to YouTube and trying to do this, we are not saying we have no information on the vaccine. Whether you take, it's all up to you. You know, if you feel like it's good, blah blah blah. We're not
talking
any,
about
yeah,
the vaccine. We're talking about Howard Stern.
We're talking about Howard Stern and the fact that he caught it. I don't want to get hit with that again for the whole medical misinformation.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
you know what I mean. When we're talking about it, for some reason, if you focus in on the vaccine and you're not just like campaigning for it, it automatically comes out to, well, that means you're against it. Truth is,
we're not saying not to take it. We're saying to shut up and take it.
Absolutely. If you want to take it, take it. That's what we're saying. And we just think it's kind of, the irony of this whole situation is funny for a man that has the resources to go so hard and try so hard to stay away from this, winds up getting in. It really wasn't that bad. Because let's get real. If it was bad, if it was really bad, he wouldn't have been back to work that following
Didn't he say
Monday.
it was like the sickest he's ever been?
Yes. He went on
The
and
sickest.
on about
You're
it.
a lucky man, Howard Stern. The sickest you've ever been lasted less than a week, and you were back to work the following Monday.
Yeah.
That's the sickest you've ever been. What a blessed life.
So I was asking Nick about this. You guys tell me. This is what I'm thinking. Like, I think he wants to continue his lifestyle right now of not seeing anybody and living under this dome of fear, so he doesn't have to associate with other people and socialize and do those things. Because when he had that in front of him, it was almost like a shield. Because Howard is a very private guy. He doesn't like socializing much. If you've ever listened to him, you know that. And I think that this was just like the best excuse he's ever had to not do these things. So I think with him coming back and immediately saying that there's still fear there involved, like, oh my God, I almost died. I got could happen. What if we catch it again? I could do this again. A good thing I was vaccinated. Hopefully we don't have to continue on with this. I mean, I don't think he's going to like say, okay, I got it. All right, time to go out in the world again. Let's go enjoy ourselves. Let's go. No way. I mean, he continues this charade, right?
Well, he's selling two types of fear. Fear one is just like his own germaphobe kind of weird shit that he's got going on that you were telling me about before.
Yeah.
And then fear two is, again, elites, please don't hit me. Please don't take my show away. I'm not saying the wrong thing. Yeah. I'm towing the line. Please look away. Please don't hurt me. That's all I hear from it, man.
Yeah.
How old is he? Like 70-something years old?
His birthday show is happening. I think he's 71, 74, something like that.
He has a birthday show?
Dude,
who's listening to him at this point?
All I know, he's 70 years old. You tell me who his audience is.
Yeah.
Who really dude, what kid is listening on going, the Howard Stern show is on. Let's listen to a 70-year-old Howard Stern talk about anything.
He's hip.
Yeah, he's hip. Dude, that was the most cutting edge show in history, and now it's been turned into a big joke with his topics and him trying to get every celebrity to cry on there. The other day, he brought Pitbull on there, and he starts talking about dancing. Howard gets his big lanky ass up and starts trying to dance with Pitbull, and he's doing this goofy thing, and it's like, dude, could you imagine your 30-year-old self saw you doing this right now? Oh my God, it'd be a bloodbath, dude. It'd be a fucking bloodbath, and it'd be one of those, Back to the Future things where he's like, "Don't do it, 50 years old, just cut it off. Just stop the show. Enjoy your life. You know?
So that being said, welcome back, Anthony Cumia.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anthony Cumia, he
kid.
never deviated from his lane, though.
No.
You know what I mean? He gets on the mic. He's an interesting guy who's hilarious and just is a great conversationalist, and he just does what he does. He never tried to like pander to anything. He never tried to change his brand, if you will. Yeah. He just is what he is,
If he was still a tin knocker right now, the conversation would be the same thing. It'd be him bullshitting, very smart guy, knows a lot of things about science and how
it's
things
just sad
work.
to watch a geriatric Howard Stern try to stay relevant.
Yeah. A geriatric Howard Stern, you know, in his fear for his life for stupid COVID, when our guy, our hero that's just been nothing but righteous and a cool guy and a wonderful person, go through a quadruple bypass for having a couple drinks. It's just
a couple.
You know, I mean a couple thousand.
The understatement of the universe.
Week, yeah,
a couple of drinks for breakfast.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. I got compound meeting again. It's so good having him back. It feels so good. He's going to his South Carolina studio too. So,
no shit.
Yeah.
Is it done?
Yeah, it's all set up. He built some like mega computer to run it. They did one show off of it. Him and Gavin did one for Censored and Compound.
Yeah.
And it had its tech problems. You know, it's funny, but there you go. You know what I mean? Like it literally sounded like our first couple of shows, us kind of finagling around with things.
He's a millionaire, by the way.
Stopping in the middle.
Someone who's a millionaire still had to work shit out. Yeah. And we've been going through this since the jump. It's fine. I'm proud of us.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let me give this to you. He's a millionaire with tech that's far beyond what we can afford.
Oh yeah.
And you did it with our budget, which was two unemployed guys that had a room at that time.
We started this show with like $500.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically.
No, he built a studio for $500. Remember I said that? Remember that's the very first time I said, did you build a studio for $500? It was a trip. He said $250. We hit flat, bam, $250. Everything else that we've added on, we've always needed. And the good thing about that with starting with nothing is when it does come to need something, when it does comes time to need something, you're going to know that you truly need it. And everything we've got thus far has been wonderful. It's been such an addition.
And
to
now
the
we're
show.
upgrading again, hence the effects.
Absolutely.
We're very excited about the effects, guys, by the way. We're fucking cheesy like that. We have a good time with it.
We're just getting our beaks wet tonight, kind of like, you know, starting off the show.
I just wanted to show that we have the capacity and that it is going to happen, and we're going to like run skits at some point in time. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a good time. Stick with us.
It's like when before you started school and you'd wear like your new outfit outside for like 1 minute and then go back in and put your old clothes back on and run out. So you want to show everybody before it starts. Well, that's what we just did to you. Yeah, man, but it's a trip, man. Again, you know, you can't mention fucking Howard without legends falling. It's a trip. Next on the docket, Hasidic Jews are going nuts out there. These are the guys that are getting punched in the face, that own the buildings in New York and are getting attacked all the time. The swirly curlies, you know, they're basically religious Amish. They have their own police force and their own ambulance. They're very private people. They won't.
What do you mean they have their own police force and ambulance?
They're like Native Americans.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like they have like designated land.
Yeah, there's like little hospitals that you know you can't go to unless you're part of that community.
Really?
Absolutely. I'm curious as to
everywhere
why.
Or just in New York?
I'm sure there's more. We have a big Jewish community in Las Vegas. I don't think you're allowed to step foot on their grounds.
I didn't know that they had like their own stuff going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But okay, dig this. Like Native Americans, like you know how they give them their land or whatever, right? Because that's what you're saying, right? Like it's.
I love how we give them their land.
Yeah. Listen, we gave you guys enough, right? What do you want now? Yeah. So in Las Vegas, down on Main Street, there's an Indian community, a Native American community. Thanks, Christopher Columbus, right? So you know, you won't drive by, you see their teepees and stuff. I was just playing. They got houses and trailers, right? They're just drinking, you know.
By the way, they really are stone cold alcoholics.
Oh, not even a question. Yeah.
I lived in Billings, Montana for a couple of years, and they have a very rich Native American population.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I walked into a bar that was like kind of downtownish. Like it's a small downtown, but it's still a downtown nonetheless. And it was like a Native American bar. And it wasn't like it was their bar, but it was kind of understood that that's where they go. But I was new there.
Yeah.
So I walked in, I just saw heads turn and just stare at me. And I could feel in every fiber of my being that I was not welcome there. And they just wanted me to fucking leave. And I did at some point in time. But man, throughout my tenure there, about 2 years, I've never met such brutal alcoholics in my entire life. They're angry. They're hostile. and they're fucking drunk all the time. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to be, but it was fucking terrifying.
Wouldn't it be funny if the bar
It really
was.
was.
The bar's name was like Plymouth Rock or something like that. Like, and this white guy's walking in there and like, give me 2 shots. Dude, listen, if there's one thing I could give like Native Americans is I'd be territorial with anything I got now. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one people I excuse for being so upset all the time because you are right. They are some of the biggest alcoholics on the planet, and they are also very, very mean drunks. Very
Extremely.
mean. Throwing blows left and right, not just to white people, to themselves. Listen, it's just a bad scene when they do drink. It's a bad scene when a lot of people drink, but it's a real bad scene. Like, it's just widely known in that community that they do. You know what I mean? Well, they have their own police force. Like, down on Main Street, they got a little guy. By the way, man, would you ever?
You talking about the Native Americans or the Jews?
Yeah, down there on Main Street.
The Hasidics. Oh, really?
Yeah. So
no shit.
What I'm saying is, it's kind of similar situation. Like, it's almost a little world within a world. Well, sometimes those worlds collide, right? So here's what went down during for the headquarters of the Hasidic Jews. I don't know exactly what it's called. I don't know a whole lot about it. Again, it's a weird religion I never really got interested in. Their headquarters, I don't know if it was for symbolic purpose in the beginning or just boredom or whatever they wanted to do. But for COVID-19, this is what they state. For COVID-19, they got shut down and they couldn't pray, right? And that's completely against them. So what they did was they dug tunnels underneath it, and they used to flee the Germans like this too. It was tunnels underneath the house. So I don't know if it's, like I said before, like if it was
wait, you said for COVID-19 they dug tunnels.
Well,
which means they didn't have them before.
Exactly.
But then you said they used to escape the Germans that way. So that method or that tunnel?
What the idea came from when they used to escape Germans, so they dug underneath the houses.
Okay.
Well, this time...
New tunnel, old plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. The reasoning for this one, COVID-19. But it's still symbolic because what the tunnel means, what the history tied to it. So they dug this huge tunnel, aired it all out. It leads to the sewer grates and whatnot. And they did this just in case they try to shut them down again, they'd have a place to pray. Now that's the logical, reasonable answer, right? Yeah. Here's the problem, right? They're very old school, again, like the Amish. I'm sure certain things that the Amish do in Pennsylvania or whatever, they're not, it's kind of against the law now.
You're talking like sacrificing deers type shit?
That's what I'm saying.
Or cattle?
Well, I don't
know.
There was a shot taken of them pulling out a mattress, a twin mattress, and look, man, I've seen enough John Carpenter movies to know what a mattress with blood on it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, they're pulling this thing out, dude, and it was like, a couple guys, underneath, dragging it out of there. What was on that blanket? Like, I mean...
Was it a blanket or a mattress?
Mattress, I'm sorry.
Why put whatever it was on a mattress?
Yeah.
That's my curiosity.
Yeah. And... could it have been, something a little more normal? Could it have been a brisk, and maybe that was a baby laying on the end of it, and they were trying out their new place?
But why make them comfortable with a mattress before you cut their heads off or whatever you do?
Listen, they might have been trying to do that, but this mattress did not look comfortable. Okay, this wasn't from fucking Dial a Mattress or fucking something like that. This didn't have like a what do you call it, a memory foam setting to it. Like, this was this shitty little mattress. But you're absolutely right. Like, why would they even need to do that?
Why bother?
Not to mention, I think when they do a brisk, they put there's like a little stand that that comes with every brisk that they set down, and they put the baby on it, and the rabbi snips and then sucks the blood off, and then blah blah. It's real fucking gross. You know what I mean? Like, again, how bad does things get when your religion allows you to suck a baby's penis? You know what I mean? To give fellatio to a baby, because it's not fellatio till he finishes, but you're still blowing the kid. You know what I mean? And you're saying it for the blood and purpose, right? Now you can say, okay, well, it might seem odd to you, and I'm okay with culture and whatever. So they give you, you do that, right? What are you doing down there that doesn't need to be seen? You know what I mean?
Why the mattress?
I don't know.
That's my number one question. Is just why the mattress?
Why the mattress? Why the bloody mattress?
To what end?
There? And that's what started raising questions around there. So the city of New York told them that they're going to fill it with cement. So, dude, I'm telling you right now, these guys, again, stick to themselves. I see these people assaulted a lot. It's kind of like, the bad kid, the guys walking down the street, and kids are going to mess with these guys because they look funny. They got the curls, they got the big hats and stuff like that. Yo, I don't know what was going on down there, but they're trying to protect it, whatever it was. Bro, they were throwing chairs, throwing bottles, hitting these guys. It took place right into their, stopping things. So they're doing this right now. And it's been, I guess the number one question is what's going on in your mind? What's going on there? You know what I mean? Why is it so important for them to have this tunnel? Why do they need something that's so cut off from the outside world that nobody could, waltz in and see? It seems like it's, more
Well, didn't you
privacy.
kind of like set that up at the beginning where they
Like if
wanted a
there's
place to
sacrifice?
worship in case they're
Absolutely.
shut down?
Yes. But why the mattress? Again, why the mattress?
The mattress is bizarre.
Yeah. Why a bloody
There's no
mattress?
great
Why is a bloody
answer for
mattress
that.
coming out of there? You know what I mean? I get it if they want to pray and do all that. You know what I mean?
But can't there be some kind of like middle ground of like, all right, we're not going to fill it in with cement, but you have to like have it regulated or watched, or like you have to like someone like kind of come and check things out every once in a while, or I don't know.
I think,
is there a way to like have the best of both worlds here?
I think the middle ground, right? The middle ground, like you said, is that hollowed out thing that heavy building is sitting on. It's getting ready to fucking close in on itself every day. You know what I mean?
How the fuck did they even dig that tunnel?
There's some engineer out there that looked at this
That's
and said,
nuts.
this is a fucking catastrophe waiting to happen. Well, the community out there is huge, man. You know what I mean? And they're
Yeah, but say like this was the church that got shut down. This house right here.
yeah. How long would it take
How
to
the
get in there?
fuck would you and I dig a massive tunnel underneath the surface of the ground? Like, who would you even go to help you?
Absolutely, I'd say what?
How'd the city not realize that there was jackhammers and like
Pickaxes
backhoes
and all that.
You're not doing that by hand.
Yeah.
You're not doing that without equipment. It's impossible and not unnoticed.
Okay. Well, what's underneath New York? Like, let me ask you this. Maybe they didn't want them going down there because it leads right to the sewer, right? And it's not, New York's not sitting on, especially like the buildings and stuff like that. Are you touching soft earth if you do dig through one of the buildings? Let's just take a random building in Manhattan, right? You know more about New York than I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know about the land.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you
it is on an island.
That's what I'm saying. If you dig far enough, you're going to touch soft earth, right? There's going to be dirt, and you're going to be putting it out there and stuff like that, right?
I would imagine.
But I'm sure that there's sewer tunnels and shit like that underneath, and then you get to that stuff,
Sure.
right? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm wondering. It's like maybe they just
Are you sure that they actually built it, or was it already there and they decided to
built
use it?
Yeah,
really?
The reason why is because the state's saying we want to fill it in with cement, and they're like, no, you're not doing this. We worked hard for this. This is our place to worship. They're throwing a lot of laws in its way, like the right to worship and prayer and all that. Blah blah blah. So it's that's how it's being crossed over. The question on everybody's mind is just it's such a weird community. Listen, there's a lot of things on the surface that look weird. They're probably good people. You know what I mean? They're probably good people. I've
never done anything that requires like
Yeah.
a bloody mattress.
No, absolutely.
That's weird.
Well, the brisk alone has always been weird, and I think we've just grown to kind of accept that happens,
Is this like a national discussion or what's going on?
Yeah, these guys out there.
This is a big deal?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this, guys. I don't stay abreast of everything.
Yeah, this is all over the news and whatnot, and that bloody mattress made its rounds, so it gets people thinking of what's going to happen and why are they doing these things, But I don't know, man.
Tempur-Pedic?
Tempur-Pedic.
It becomes a commercial.
This would be a good ad. What if they showed that mattress and it was on there? You see the jumping sheep and shit. You know what I mean?
Memory foam. It remembers.
Yeah. Look, I guess what I'm getting at is they're pretty fucking weird, man.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Quite strange.
What else is going on in the news, man? Well, we want to talk about a couple of things, right?
Let's talk.
Okay.
Yes.
We had a conversation before this, and just kind of the direction that the country's going and whatnot. And what we got to was Pope Francis now saying that trans people are allowed to join the Catholic Church, and he was making a point before we had said that about forgiveness and how somebody's more likely to kind of show empathy towards your situation, towards their, if you come with them with a gesture like a hug, or letting them know that that they're welcome, basically, instead of all this fighting that's going on in the country right now, because we are so divided, and I think that's so noticeable.
Yeah, and it's just like he's right, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm wrong. We're just hurling insults back and forth.
Yeah.
And no one ever wants to like secede ground, if you will.
Yeah.
So at what point do you go, hey man, let's just come to the table and like forget about the past, and let's just from this point forward move forward with the trajectory of what's best for everybody involved. You know what I mean? Like, instead of trying to like dethrone or thwart somebody or hurt them for what they've done in the past or punish them, if you will.
Yeah.
How about we like reach an understanding and just move forward from there, right?
Yeah. Oh, we've echoed this a million times. Like every time somebody does something, wrong, that's a celebrity or something like that, people want blood. People want their entire livelihood taken away. Well, that's what brought up Pope Francis when he said that trans are allowed to join. I don't think it's okay, but what his point was, these are sick people. They should join the church and let them know that we were there for them when nobody else was. And it made a good point. He's very wise.
It's wise.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think if everybody took that approach to all the shit that's going on today, and listen, man, we joke around, we poke fun at everything, anything, but we do know that there's a sickness out there right now that's just tearing people apart, and it's just kind of leading people down this weird path of anger and whatnot. And I don't know, man. I think everybody needs to take like some notes right now.
I agree.
Being compassionate
and
to
like
one
right,
another.
wrong, or indifferent. Like no one's 100% correct about themselves. Like we're all like just on this journey, just figuring out as we go. People get confused. People get mixed up. Things happen. People get lost.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't just crucify everyone that you don't agree with and just hate and yell and scream. It's how do you know for 100% certitude that you're right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could think you're right. You could believe you're right, the same as the other people that believe that they're right and think that they're right.
Yeah.
But until it comes out in the wash and we see what's what, no one really knows. You're just kind of stating your case.
Well,
that's what I think.
I have an example just from earlier today when I came over here before we had that conversation. I was looking at all those guys that are coming in from different countries, stuff like that. It was pissing me off. Every time I looked at those guys, I was like, these fucking sickos are coming in.
The border problem with all the
whether from Africa and Haiti.
You guys know
Mexico,
everyone flooding into the country with no papers,
and it was pissing me off and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like I've never been in their shoes to the point where I'm trying to escape some war-torn country or poverty or whatever, just trying to get a better life and stuff like that. And you're being shipped around right now, and I still think that they need, if they are going to come here, that they do need to assimilate and learn to become a productive member of society. Because I think if you're a bad person there, you're not going to come over here and be a good person. It's just not going to happen.
No.
So maybe kind of like take steps in the right direction in doing that. I always thought legal immigration was okay. I think we should have more people coming in and doing the right thing. But I'm like kind of looking at these guys and I'm looking at them like some enemy. And I felt when we were having that conversation, I'm like, they're not the ones.
They're doing nothing.
Yeah, they got.
Who wouldn't take that opportunity?
Yeah.
It's not up to them to say no.
Exactly. So some hand that we have no idea is controlling this whole thing and only getting rich from it and only getting votes and things like that.
That's like if you know someone that you work with and they got promoted to a super high level and they didn't work there as long as you and they took the job and they're making like $200,000 a year and you just look at them and you hate their guts because you know you're better than them and you deserve it more and you're just mad at them. Don't be mad at them. Be mad at the guy that gave them the offer because if you got the offer, you would have took it too.
Exactly.
That's it.
Who wouldn't? Yeah. It's opportunity.
What are you going to be like, no. Richard deserves it more than me. Go ahead and give it to him. Yeah. They offered it to you. You're going to fucking take it. That's that.
And very few people would not take the opportunity due to their morals and whatnot. You seize opportunity. It's just what you do with it. You know what I mean? So if you were in their position, you do the exact same thing. God, you would. It wouldn't even be a question. I would.
100%.
If I was sitting over there and I knew that I had a golden ticket into here, I wouldn't think of anybody else but getting out of there and then taking it from there and seeing what happens. That's exactly what they're doing. I still don't think
at what point in time though, like the more that we take them, if you will, not them, whoever's coming in, at what point is America the same as where they left?
Yeah.
Like when does it get to the point to where it's like a moot?
Yeah.
Like why even leave? Because it's the same over there than it is here. We just brought ourselves. Like we're in Vegas. So we've seen like a mass exodus of Californians coming into Las Vegas, if you will.
Yeah.
And they're basically turning this into California. And I'm like, you left California because it was California, because you made it California. And now you're coming here and doing the same shit here. It's like, you're just going to ruin this too. It's like locusts. Yeah. Like they fly, they eat all the crops. The crops are gone. They go somewhere else and they eat those crops too. It's just like, at what point is it not all consumed? I'm just curious about that.
It's going to be so weird watching them go back when they're like, this place sucks now.
They leave on their
going.
own.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, this just place used to be. They'd say some shit like, this place used to be cool, and then just walk.
At least the cartels just take their cut and leave you
yeah,
alone.
Yeah, this sucks, man. You mean I give half of everything? That'd be fucking hilarious, man. What else we got, buddy?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah. You guys got to understand. Can I just get real with him?
Go ahead, talk.
Okay. All right,
Let's talk about our shit for a minute.
Okay,
Let's go.
Yeah. I came over here in a very, very weird mood tonight. In fact, I had to come to Nick, and what I did was I was in kind of a weird place. I went a little too hard this week with, just doing things that I like to do and just, substances and whatnot. And I'm usually okay with this. Like life is a balance, and if you do things right, then you're allowed to do what you want as an adult, right? Well, sometimes you can push the limits of anything and you go too far, and that's exactly what I did this week. So when I got over here, I was in a very weird mood. I was very vulnerable and kind of odd and anxious, and I tried to come in with a brave face and try to I was going to do my best to bullshit my way through tonight. It just wasn't going to happen.
But that's not what we do here on this show,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
And by the way, guys, we know that every single episode we put out is not always going to be like the best episode ever.
Yeah.
But our thing is authenticity, so this is the truth. So let's talk about this for a minute. Let's just be honest, man.
So I came in.
We're trying to do the show regardless, but
Yeah.
like really we had a whole like 4-hour talk before we
Yeah.
even like put the camera on.
Exactly. I came in and I was like, all right, all you got to do, play it. This is going on my head, sitting in my car and getting ready to walk in. Just play it cool, get it done, smile, do the right thing, get out of there, boom, boom. I came in 5 minutes later. These guys are both asking me, what's going on? What's wrong? I got man, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. If you know me, I'm really loud and, not just in playing and boom, boom, and cracking jokes and shit like that. I couldn't do it. I was completely out of character. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be genuine. I couldn't say what I wanted to say. I was doing my best to just kind of like move the conversation on. I'm usually the guy that's filler. I'm usually saying things in between everybody's talk so I could just keep it going. I'm fucking loud, and I just couldn't do it. I was completely out of it. So I had a lot on my mind, a lot of weird stuff on my mind. And I had to come to him and I had to ask him. And sometimes, man, you just need that outside opinion perspective on things to kind of like put you in line. I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to tell
Go as deep as you want, man.
Okay,
I like
this
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm letting you like set it up.
No, yeah, but it's like I don't want to say exactly the things that I was thinking because it's just
fair enough.
Yeah. So I told him and I got in a really weird place in a really weird state, and I trust Nick and we've been friends and worked together for a long time now. And so I came to him, and it's kind of one of those things where I was like, look, man, I'm out of it. Like, I really need you to like tell me, like, is this real or not? And it sucks that things have to be that way sometimes, but the mind is a very, very, it could be a very good place. It could be a very dark place. It could be a very weird place.
It's powerful.
Yeah. I was just swimming in it, and I had no idea where. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of, putting things together. The problem is when you've already convinced yourself that something's wrong and it's not, and you're just trying to get back there, and you've also been going, like I said before, going a little hard with substances and whatnot. I was sitting there making no sense, and now I'm kind of creating things, and I'm conjuring things up that make sense to me, but in reality they don't make any sense. It's just not real. It's not happening.
Yeah, you're trying to rationalize your state.
Exactly. So I'm like going off on telling him like I thought this and I thought this and I thought this, and he had a very simple solution and kind of mindset that he told me to get into, that I'm just gonna go on moving forward now. And I also have plans over the weekend to kind of put myself in a better place, just like physically and mentally, and just clean up a little bit, because sometimes you just need it. You just need that reset for the things that you do. I mean, it's like anybody.
Well, you can't obsess about things constantly. And also, like, if you do the right things for your body, just get a good night's sleep, go to the gym, drink some water, read a book, hang out a little bit, and just kind of reset. Your problems are still going to be there on the other side of it, but at least you can like calibrate and get away from it. Yeah. If you over obsess and microanalyze every little detail that you're going through, you're going to get more and more confused and further away from clarity. Yeah. So there's like a macro perspective that you should take and a micro perspective that you should take. And you should alternate between the two and change views as to how close you are to the situation, get away from it a little bit, let things go sometimes, come back to it maybe later, and so on and so forth. If you're constantly obsessing and just in your head going in circles, you're going to spin yourself around. You're going to be dizzy. It's going to happen. And then you won't be able to see shit.
If I didn't, let's say we didn't plan this tonight, I had a plan. I was going to go all weekend. I'm not even joking. I was going to go all weekend. Come here, Panda Man. I don't think that life kind of grabs you sometimes and puts you in the right place at the right time. I didn't know what he was going to say when I texted him. I knew that we had plans to shoot, but I knew that it was a very long weekend. So I knew that, I was going to see how he felt about tonight. It's kind of on spur of the moment. Called him a little later in the day. And he said, yeah, man, let's come over, let's do it. It's like, all right, again, the plan was you come in here, smile the best I can, and, you do out here. But I don't know, if I didn't have that conversation with you, my whole thing is that's like you said, sometimes you take a step
back. You couldn't have gotten outside of it.
Yeah.
And now you're just perpetuating it in 2 more days of that.
2 more days, dude. I had 2 more days.
Bro, you're out of your mind after that shit.
Yeah. And we have a plan already for the extended, what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
look, can I say one thing? Can we just be honest for one moment in time? I mean, all this new age, like being positive all the time, and there's no enemy outside of yourself. It's all within. And you know what I mean? Like, you got to be strong-minded and iron mind and blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. We're human fucking beings, man. No one knows exactly what's going on or what we're doing. We learn and we grow as we go throughout this life. And that's kind of the entire point of it in general. So anyone that's out there that's just kind of portraying that they know every answer, or they're perfect all the time, or they're always confident, or they always know what to do, I don't trust that shit even for one moment. If you have problems, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you go in and out, if you get insecure sometimes, that's completely fucking normal, man.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. That's the human condition. So let's not pretend like there's some guy out there just has it all together and just knows everything. Yeah. No one knows exactly what's going on. We're all in this together. It's all mostly our first try, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, dude, come on, man. Things are a little bit messed up. Things are tough. You know what I mean? It's like we're doing our best.
Yeah.
We're doing our best.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel good all the time. You shouldn't feel perfect all the time. It's fine. Do your best, get through it, work, grow, change, evolve. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, even on the way over here, I'm telling you, I swear to God, man, even on the way over here, dude, like the weakness in myself that I was even just driving over here, like, dude, I was spent, no physical or emotional strength, and I'm just sitting there, and dude, I'm just kneeled over at the wheel, just driving over here, just like kind of like not knowing what's gonna happen when I get here, and like I said, man, like, dude, at this point, I'm still running off my own.
But you were in that mind frame.
Yeah.
Can I also say something else, like with the positive thinking thing and all that crap, whatever? Oh, you just got to reframe it. You just got to be positive. How do I say this perfectly? The definition of positivity is not what it's being portrayed to be in this current generation. Pain doesn't equal bad, right? And if you're not feeling good, that doesn't mean that it's negative. There's a duality throughout all of nature. There's light and dark on either side. There's righteous anger. There's unrighteous anger, right? There's righteous love. There's unrighteous love. There's good. There's bad. There's hormetic stress, which is like going to the gym, which builds you up. There's destructive stress, which is like drinking and smoking, which breaks your body down. They're both types of stress, but one has a positive effect, one has a negative effect. So just because you're feeling bad doesn't mean that that's bad. That's something that's going to teach you how to grow a lot of the times. And sometimes when you're feeling bad and you're not learning a lesson, that's destructive. You should get out of that entirely. So like I call it dark positive and light positive. So like when you're like goofy and jovial and you're smiling and you're in a loving state and everyone thinks you're high-fiving people and you're happy and you're hugging everybody and you have nothing but good things to say, great. Enjoy that mood while it lasts. Yeah. And when you're not in the best mood, that doesn't mean that you're in a negative mood. There's dark positive, like tough love. If you have a kid, and sometimes you can't just smile at your kid and tell them everything's going to be okay. Sometimes you have to look your kid in the eye and go, you fucked up, and this is why it's dangerous, and this is why it's not okay. And you have to hurt that kid's feelings and shock them and traumatize them a little bit so they learn a positive lesson. And that's a positive thing. So pain doesn't equal bad, and not all bad feelings are negative. So learn the difference between negative and actual positive, if that makes any sense. Being happy all the time, being jovial and saying nice things doesn't necessarily mean positive. If you over compliment or over if you show too much love to someone, you spoil them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a balance with everything.
Them bad.
You spoil them bad.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like the state that you were in wasn't necessarily a negative state. It was not the best place that you could be in, but that's what's going to teach you how to learn how to grow and move forward and do things differently in the future.
Yeah, that shit shapes you, dude.
That's
Absolutely. It. I will what you said. I'm going to apply that to the everyday.
And that's just like a jumping off point. Like develop your own stuff on top of that, but Absolutely. It's a place to start.
But you need that outside opinion sometimes.
Always.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Always.
And now I can apply that to, so if I do become in a weird state again, which was probably going to happen in the future, now I know how to kind of like deal with it a little better. And the next time it happens, take something from that and move forward and move
Dude,
forward.
I'll tell you something that I do.
That's what you do.
So I'm very, very confident in my ability to like analyze situations, see reality for what it is, understand the truth, et cetera, et cetera. But throughout my history in general, whenever I've fallen in love with a girl, I always go to my most trusted friend and confidant, the one that I know knows me, understands what's good for me, and is outside of the situation. And I tell them right to their face, hey, I have feelings for this girl. My mind is basically like, like compromised.
Yeah.
I can't see her for what she is. Just like, be around us, spend some time with us or whatever, and then tell me your honest assessment of what's going on, because I can't tell. You can't always know everything all the fucking time. You're not an island. You need help. You need outside perspective. And no matter how smart you are, no matter how wise you are, no matter how much you've been through and how much you've learned, you're always going to need that. It's always valuable. So that's a good thing. I'm going to come to you at some point in time and do the same thing.
Yeah, I think sometimes men are misleaded when they think that they can't lean on somebody and get that help and stuff like that. Like, dude, again, like, it's not a weakness to need help. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
It never is. It never is. And God, man, it's some weird macho bullshit that they get caught up in.
It's nonsense.
Like, nah, dude.
No one person is the end all be all that knows everything. It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us humble, though. Understanding that, like, you can still be great. You can still be confident. You can still think highly of yourself.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're better than the rest of the world. It doesn't mean that you're an island unto yourself. We all need each other at the end of the day. And that's the entire point of this. It's like life has built-in humility, if you will. Like, no matter pride goeth before the fall. Everyone knows this term. Yeah. Everyone experiences it at some point or another. You could be Conor McGregor, for Christ's sakes, and at some point you're going to get your ass whooped by Dustin Poirier. Dude, it doesn't matter what it is, man.
I've seen him at his most vulnerable when he was laying on that canvas yelling, "Your wife is in my DMs." Dude, do you think for 1 second he thought that was going to make him look like some cool guy that was better? Or do you think he fucking couldn't even look at people leaving that fucking arena that night on a fucking gurney?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
When he told everyone else that Poirier was going out on a stretcher.
Boom. Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
That's it. You're right.
Yeah. What do you think about affirmation?
Affirmations?
Yeah. I hate when somebody's telling me that I gotta wheel something to fucking make it happen. It just drives me insane. Sometimes you're just fucking pissed off or depressed or happy or something like that. And things just kind of either work out or they fucking don't. But I don't think
affirmations are good when they're yours and they come from your heart and you're just saying it to yourself from a good place.
So some life coach isn't going to tell you what
you can't rewire your thought process by repeating a phrase in the mirror over and over again, because your subconscious has set beliefs. Yeah. And if you don't believe something, you can't just talk yourself into believing it. Something has to happen to change your belief system. That's all bullshit, man. Well, that's all bullshit. Like putting in like headphones and like having like whatever binaural beats in, it's going to rewire your subconscious to think in a successful way. No one even knows what successful really is, by the way. We can even get into that, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Like, society has created a certain economic system that only rewards a certain personality type. Yeah. And also it's like, dude, not everyone has that personality type, and not everyone should have that personality type. There are people that don't have a lot of ambition, that are like artists and creative thinkers, that are probably never going to go anywhere or make it or even be homeless, and they shouldn't be. It's just because the structure that we're in doesn't reward that type of thinker or that type of character type. And just because you're not that type of character doesn't mean that you're flawed. The system is flawed. The way we live this life is flawed. It's not you that's flawed necessarily. That's bullshit. Charles Bukowski is one of my favorite writers of all time. You should look into him if you don't know who he is. Yeah. And one of my favorite things he ever wrote or said was basically like, there ought to be a place for people that don't have the ambition to like be like whatever, CEOs and shit like that. Yeah. People that like don't really want much out of life. They shouldn't be punished and relegated into like obscurity and looked down on and mocked and frowned upon because they don't have that drive, if you will. Not everyone is meant to have that drive. If everyone was supposed to be exactly the same way, do you understand it couldn't work? There'd be a gridlock. So like people say like, oh, it comes down to how bad do you want it, right? how hard have you worked? If you put the work in, you're going to get the reward. That's not true. And I know that from sports.
Yeah.
I know that from boxing. There are two boxers that get into the ring. Each worked their entire life to get to that point. Each has the utmost confidence, the utmost belief, did the utmost training, blah, blah, blah. And one wins and one loses, even if they have the equal amount of belief and desire to win that fight, because one guy either got a lucky shot or is more talented or he just had a bad style from you. It's not always your fault when you fail. Sometimes it's just the way that it is. It's not always that way. It's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Dude, when you adopt that mindset of like, positive belief and like you can control everything, you can manifest whatever destiny you want, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. All it does is it just weakens you when it doesn't happen the way that you want. You think there's something inherently wrong with you. It's dangerous. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Well, I mean, if you're manifesting destiny, right?
Manifesting destiny.
Yeah.
What if I want to build a railroad across your house?
I don't.
Exactly.
Both of our destiny and they collide.
What the fuck?
There you go.
So who wins then?
Yeah.
The guy who wants it more. It's bullshit.
When you call up and go, well, I guess your destiny won, and you hang up.
It's bullshit,
it's dumb.
bro.
It's dumb. It really is. Sometimes shit just doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. And that's just the fucking bottom line, dude. You know
and also,
what I mean?
like, everything is subjective. We don't inherently know exactly what is always right and wrong or what you should be or shouldn't be or what's good and bad and all that stuff,
Plenty of misguided decisions every fucking day, dude.
How many originals, which is basically all of them throughout history, every original thinker, every original artist, every original whatever the fuck it is, they were always the outliers, the ones on the outskirts of society that society didn't accept, that rejected them, that they were told would never amount to shit. That's why you hear those stories all the time. Everyone told me I would be nothing. Yeah. Everyone said I couldn't do it, and I wanted to prove them wrong. No, that's bullshit. That's confirmation bias, man. You say that after you've won, and then you backwards rationalize these things to make it fit that profile of it was because of this thought process, because of these things, blah, blah, blah. But you could have absolutely lost, and you could have absolutely become nothing. And the only thing that matters is how you are in God's eyes and nowhere else. That's it. Also, like, it's like, what are the sheer odds, right? So depending on your belief system, whether or not you're spiritual or whether or not you believe in, like, the afterlife or, souls and all that stuff. So my belief system is this. And if you agree with this, then you'll understand what I'm saying. I think that this is one of many realities. I think that we are infinite, eternal beings that are made out of one substance, and I think that God does exist. I think the reason for this place to exist is to experience context, texture, and every degree of everything in between. So if that's the case, right, and you're supposed to be here to experience different types of lives, different ways of being, different experiences, different tastes, different smells, different sounds and all that stuff, why would everything be uniform in one way to be right? There is no right, there is no wrong. Everything is subjective, and the best thing you could do is just, be a loving person, try not to hurt anyone, go to this world and do the best you can. It's not that if you don't achieve X, Y, and Z that you're nothing. That's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. It's possible that we choose our lives before we come here. And maybe I choose to experience hardship. Yeah. Maybe I chose to experience poverty. Maybe I chose to experience being rich. Maybe I came down here for a vacation life. I just wanted a good one this time. Yeah. Maybe that's possible. That's not outside of the realm of possibility. We don't know. We just absorb and we analyze based on the reality we're in now, and we don't have all the information or all the facts. We don't really know what's going on, and we sit here and we preach and we talk to people as though we do. It's bullshit.
Maybe it's one of those things where you're working towards the good one, kind of like a punch card at a yogurt shop. Like, all right, so I have childhood leukemia in this one, but the next one, you're telling me that I'm like Jeff Bezos, right? Does that make, you know what I mean?
What if, think about it like this. Let's say you're an eternal being, right? That lives forever. Yeah. And outside of this body that you're in now, this life that you're in now, you've had 1,000 other lives that you've come down here to experience. And now let's say you're back on the other side and you're like, you know what? I've experienced wealth. I've experienced joy. I've experienced this, X, Y, and Z. Yeah. What's going to add to my soul so I can understand even more, right? Maybe this time I come down here to experience hardship, to be an addict or to be fucked up or whatever the fuck it is, right? Yeah. Maybe I come down here to have that because my soul's experienced so many different things, then that's something new and novel that I've never had before, and that's going to actually add and lend to my soul's growth. Maybe that, maybe. And if that's the case and you came down here and you chose that life path and then you get here and you wake up in this body and the world tells you that you're a piece of shit and you're not achieving enough and you're wrong and blah, 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 and this and that. You should do this. And it's all about results and it's all about action. It's all about attitude. And like, you should think this way and you should be that way and blah, blah, blah. Maybe all that's what's actually bullshit. And all you really need to do is actually just come from a good place in your heart, which is why it says in the Bible that God judges you from the reins of your heart. It's not about what you have. It's not about what you've done. It's about being a decent human being, trying your best, being a sinner, failing, fucking up, and then coming back and saying, you know what? I need you. I love you. I understand I'm no better than any of these people, no matter what my life has become.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where empathy and goodness comes from, is from fucking up. Maybe that.
I'd say so. Especially, you kind of
maybe
you got to experience those things to ever have that type. Like I've noticed a lot of people with like pretty easy goes of it, and they just do not understand.
Don't you think that it's interesting,
kind,
dude? There's ultimate realities that like permeate through all of existence. Don't you think it's interesting that almost every spoiled kid is rotten?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lot of the abused or the people that are fucked up that had to overcome a lot of challenges become the most valuable of the people that exist on this planet. Have you ever considered that? So maybe that there's a good inherent in the struggle and in the fight and in the perseverance. Maybe just being coddled and pampered and having everything isn't the end all be all. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? And who knows when you're supposed to have it. Maybe you're never supposed to have it. Maybe you are supposed to at some point in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe you're here for a different purpose. Who knows?
Yeah.
Some people are here just to create art.
Yeah.
Some people are here to have an impact on mass psychology. You know what I mean? Like, the consciousness.
Freud or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I got you.
People have different jobs.
Yeah.
Like your body has different jobs inside of it. Like you have an immune system, you have an endocrinology system, you have veins running through your body, you have a blood, you know what I mean? All that shit, your heart pumps, blah, blah. It all has different jobs, but it all has a purpose. And they're not supposed to be the same.
Like Carlin to make people.
I'm butchering this, but you get what I'm saying, though, right?
No, I got you. Absolutely, I get exactly what you're saying. You're not butchering it. Yeah.
And then we say, we put a value on it based on like what society praises and lifts up, and where you end up in society.
Yeah.
And that's what's bullshit.
Yeah.
Not you as an authentic individual person.
Well, sure. I don't think Van Gogh was very rich, or Picasso, and their art's been passed down for fucking hundreds of years now.
Do you know that a lot of those guys, like Leonardo da Vinci, like he actually was a lazy person. He actually didn't finish 99%. Yeah, no, that's Michelangelo. But Da Vinci didn't finish most of his projects and his commissions. He thought he was a loser until he was in his mid 40s.
Okay,
he didn't like get actually popular and like do great things until like way later in his life.
Yeah,
his whole life he thought he was a fuck up and just couldn't pay attention and couldn't get shit done. And now we hail him as one of the greatest geniuses of all time.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like interesting.
Let me ask you this though, like his art that he did finish, like were those pieces done, or did other people come over and help out?
They were done.
Yeah.
Do you know what actually made Da Vinci?
Oh, he would do it and then throw it out and shit.
No,
like
he
that.
would like people would commission him to do a job, and he would like do half of it and never finish, and then pursue his own interests. He was a guy who had like multiple. He was like involved in like mechanics and like physics and science and all that stuff, painting at the same time. Do you know what made his painting so good? Is that Leonardo da Vinci studied the human body and anatomy from like tissue to veins to like skin to skull structure and all the way up. So when he would paint layers like that. He would paint like the fucking blood system, and then paint over that, and create all the layers, which makes it give him the realistic.
Veins and boom, boom,
man.
boom,
Yeah. So his broad spectrum of like curiosity, if you will, actually lent to his greatness in the end. But his entire time on this planet, he was insecure and thought that he was a fuck up and a loser. Yeah. And he's one of the greatest people that ever lived. This overconfidence bullshit is nonsense. Yeah. It's nonsense,
like,
dude.
They weren't perfect. He painted real bodies, too. Yeah, that is a trip, huh?
It's nonsense. So this idea that like all these people that were great people in history knew from the time they were a kid, or they just knew their purpose and all that crap.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes, yes, but that's not for everyone. And you don't know exactly where you're going to end up. So have some humility and just understand that it's a journey, and we don't exactly know what we're doing, and you can't just have that just because you want it.
Okay, so you're challenging.
It drives me nuts.
When they talk about the chosen, you're challenging that. You're thinking that these people or these beings
even
already knew
most
what
of the
their job was and kind of
didn't know that they were the chosen.
Yeah. Until everything,
and even then, they're probably going to tell you that they're not the chosen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bullshit, man. This is all like this new age hubris bullshit is nonsense, dude. Get rid of it. I promise. I'm a confident guy, but I don't think that I just know everything because I'm confident.
Like that
I can't just will whatever I want into existence. That's nonsense, man. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Also, why would I want to? with my limited human mind and my limited understanding at the age that I'm at now, why would I want to create whatever this mind and this heart wants when I don't even know what the truth is about reality and what's actually good for society at an overall level? Like, we can't see that far ahead that we think that we can. We think we know what's right and we think we know what's wrong, but we actually don't really know until years and years and years pass. Things are very vague. They're very vague, man.
I'm going to take the human mind stuff that I could conjure up because, like, remember Dr. Manhattan? Like, just went up and put some big glass thing.
Yes.
That shit was boring, bro. Go down there and do whatever you want. You know what I mean? He's like, I want to be alone. And he just, like, builds that big old glass fucking house. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you got to, like, dude, God level.
Dr. Manhattan's one of my favorite characters
awesome,
ever.
Man. Fucking awesome.
Dude, like, one of my favorite things is, he goes, miracles by their definition are meaningless. Only that which can happen does happen.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I'm not saying that God doesn't exist or miracles don't exist, but miracles, the way that we perceive them, are not real. Everything is possible because everything is possible. That's really all it is. And we're here with hard, fast rules, and things are not as cut and dry as it seems. It's not that obvious what to do.
I like when they take him to, like, this everyday normal guy kind of falling in love and doing his job and stuff like that into what he's become. Oh, God, so
dude, he
good.
looks at the girl at one point in time and he goes, if you could see the world how I see it, he's like, you would understand. He's like, let me show you.
Yeah.
And he just touches her and starts, like, putting images in her head. But it's like, dude, like, if you think that our human species and our human minds are able to perceive all of reality and how it ties together, we know very little.
Yeah.
We know a drop in the bucket as opposed to what's actually going on in the universe and out in reality. Yeah. How the fuck do we have the arrogance to say that we know what's good and what's bad and what's right and what's wrong when we don't even understand how, like, all these parts interact with each other in the grand scheme of things?
What these things
we have no
to.
idea what's happening, dude.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about space. We surmise a bunch. We have, like, theoretical physicists and all that crap. We've never been to the bottom of the ocean. We don't even know all the entities that exist on this planet yet. We have no idea what's going on. We're babies.
Well, the guy that we trust the most about space wanted to see midgets that couldn't reach a chalkboard doing math equations, which is obviously the closest thing to little kids he could do.
100%.
You know what I mean? Absolutely.
It's
you
ridiculous.
don't need a midget that can't reach the board, the chalkboard. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me that, you know?
So that's all I'm saying.
Man, I'm curious if when we're going to start doing actual space travel and whatnot, you know?
That would be actually very interesting. I would love to see
how far we're going to take it. Like, if you right now you couldn't come back, you could only go one way, and you hit 1,000,000 years into the future, and you were able to take this voyage, would you do it?
Yeah, I probably would.
Just that you could be that person.
Me, like, as I am now, I probably
in history,
would.
And then in the future,
I would just be so curious that it'd be hard to resist for me.
Yeah.
For me, that's it. I would just be like, what the fuck is actually going on? I always wanted to understand reality and know I just want the truth.
Yeah.
I just want to know what's going on.
Extinction.
It's interesting. Yeah.
At some point, right? Another ice age, you know, another meteor, something like that.
How about this? Like, you know about simulation theory?
No.
So simulation theory is a very popular.
Okay.
It's a very popular idea that we're in a simulation. Like, we're in a computer game like The Matrix. And so, like, I'll see videos on YouTube all the time where it's like, you're in a simulation.
The Mandela
this
effect
this
and
isn't
all that.
real. This is all an illusion. Let me say something. I've been wanting to say this for a long time.
Do you want to put an effect on it? Do you want to do
an
town
echo?
Hall? Yeah, you should do an echo for that.
I don't think it'll land.
Oh, okay, all right, go for it.
But I will do an effect at some point in time.
Okay,
let me say
absolutely.
this, and let me just say this clearly. Everything that exists is real.
Yeah.
Even if you were in a computer game and you were in a simulation and you could taste and touch and smell and experience, even though it's a simulation, it's still real. There's nothing that exists that isn't fucking real.
Yeah.
What is your definition of real? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
People go, oh, this is a simulation. Yes, it is. It is. This is not all reality. This is only one realm that we're in, if you will. That doesn't make it fake. Yeah. It's not fake because it's one part of a whole. It's like saying that like wherever you're from, right? Like, for us, it's like Henderson is the other side of town. It's like saying that Henderson is not real because I'm over here, and that when I'm in Henderson, I'm in a simulation because I'm not here. It's all real. It's all fucking real. It's bullshit. I hate that simulation crap, man.
And not to mention the guy who's writing the code.
Simulation. They're experiences. Yeah. They're real.
Yeah. The guy who's writing the code for the simulations, like, hey, like, what you know the dudes that sleep with other dudes, like, let's do like a weird blood thing, like we'll call it AIDS. And he's like,
he codes it in.
Yeah.
0001111.
Yeah, and so people know they have it. We'll put like weird lesions and scratches on their heads and stuff. Yeah.
Simulation theory and these fucking theoretical scientists just jerking themselves off. It drives me nuts, man.
I don't. It's funny because we're so advanced. We have like access to so much information now that I think people are so overloaded that they start believing weird shit like flat Earth. And look, man, I was on the moon landing thing. I don't think it ever happened. I don't think we ever traveled over 300,000.
I agree with you, but also it's like I'm not married to it.
No, God, no, dude.
And also, if it did happen, great. And if it didn't, like,
yeah,
it's just an idea. I'm just
wonderful.
like, oh, it seems a little fishy. That's all I'm saying. Like, people get so absorbed in this crap, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not. It's not nowhere near like the flat Earth theory, like where you're just fucking grasping at straws, trying to like, oh, and this is why this, and this is why this. When you could simply look up, and everything else is a sphere. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. Like birds don't exist and blah blah blah. There's all those weird ones out there.
Dude, it's nonsense. So like what I think that we have like eternal energy body, like souls, if you will, right? Yeah. And like think of it like this TV. So this TV exists, and that's like the hardware. Yeah. And then whatever's playing on it is the software. I think you are like a software that's playing in this body. Like your body's picking up a frequency, if you will, that plays you. And your essence is this eternal thing that's probably experienced innumerable amounts of things and innumerable amounts of reality, and it's probably seen things that you couldn't possibly imagine. But when you come here, you have no memory, right? You come here like there's an episode of Rick and Morty. Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah. I love Rick and Morty.
Do you remember the episode where they go to Blips and Chits?
Yeah.
Do you remember Roy?
Fucking one of the best
That's
episodes
what the
ever.
fuck this is, bro.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's it. So when you come
Unlike
out,
you, Marty, I never go back to the carpet
dude,
store.
You have your memories and you have your story that you've like not created, but you've experienced as you've been here, which has molded your thought process here based on amnesia, basically. Yeah. I think when you get out of this shit, you have a collective memory that comes back to you, and you remember so much more than you could possibly remember here. I don't think that we're all fresh. I don't think we're all a clean slate.
So you think like strands, like just I'm connected to something, and I'm just going, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that? Okay.
Imagine you were an infinitely eternal being, and you were the only thing that existed, and there was nothing but you. Yeah. And you were like, dude, like, well,
everything
this is boring after a while.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so what would you do? You would create experiences.
More. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So imagine you cloned yourself 5 times, right? Like, so you're Billy, you're you, this Billy, this one that I'm talking to right now with your experience, your personality type. Now imagine there was 5 of you that were created at the same time. And one you was the you that had your life that created the persona that you have now. Yeah. And the other you you were in an Asian family with completely different principles and different ways of looking at things. And then there was another you, the same exact person that was born in a different society with different understanding, like different at a different time frame in history, if you will. Yeah. And you have that experience, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like this, like, so like, here's the main you, and then here's the 5 clones. Yeah. And the 5 clones have tethers back to the main you. So when that clone or whatever lives its life, its experience gets downloaded into the whole. Yeah. Right. And then when you die, you come back to the whole. So I'm just saying, like you are not necessarily you. You're a culmination of your experiences and your life's journey and your belief systems and your environmental programming as of now, today, in this time frame.
So I'm a piece of the ultimate.
That's it.
Coming together.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm like saying this badly, but you get what I'm saying.
Believe me, dude, I did not come in tonight with like, you've been killing it. Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's what I think. Yeah. And I think that like when people do psychedelics, for instance, or they have a near death experience, I think that the veneer basically gets like pierced. Yeah. And then you start seeing like more of what's really going on, more or less. I think that's what it really is. And that's why I'm not married to science and intellectualism and all that crap. Yeah. There's so much intuitive stuff going on that people can't explain, and there's so much more to reality that's really like right in front of our faces. I think most people understand that at this point in time. It's bullshit.
And I do appreciate the experiences, because if I was this ultimate being and I could just create more and more and more and more, I would put pain. I would put grief, I would put loss, I would put love, I would put happiness, I put everything in there, because
knowing that at the end of it, that not only are you going to be okay, but it's going to make you better and be interesting and like actually feed you in some way. Yeah. Like all of our concerns and our worries come from the idea that this is it. Yeah. And that when it's over, and we don't know what happens when we die, and that the end. I don't think there's an end. If you knew for an absolute certitude that there was no end and that what I was saying was actually true, would you be nervous about living this life?
I think, see, you're going to get fucking, all right, here, you
Tell
want
me.
to go? Yeah. I think that I don't hear a lot of people thinking that when the end's the end. I think that when the end's the end, I think people a lot of the time think that like you said before, like I was put here and there's some type of afterlife and I get my own heaven and I get this and I get that. I don't know if we're gonna. Like what goes up there, like the soul, or do we look like us, or are we just floating around? People have a lot of different things on it, but I think it's one of those. I think it's a lot of energy.
You think that this complex, nuanced, crazy reality exists, and then nothing else?
That nothing else is running it.
So when you leave here, you're just floating around, confused.
No. I think
all this intelligence that's here exists.
I think you break down. I think your body goes. I think your energy goes.
I think your
out
body
there.
is a container.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. That's it. And I think that your consciousness is your energy signature. And I think just like, so people don't understand like radio waves and like, like whatever.
Yeah. I got you.
Frequencies, if you will.
Yeah.
So like this TV. So there's like channel 32, channel 27, blah, blah, blah. Depending on what channel I tune into is the program that I get to watch. And they could be remarkably different, if you will.
Yeah.
And they all exist over time and space at the exact same time. But you only see on the screen the one that you're tuned into. Mm-hmm. So is this real? Yes. Is other things real? Yes. Are there other realities? Yes. Yes. Why not? Why not? Why this one and nothing else? Like why? It's actually more logical to think the way that I'm talking than it is to think that there's nothing else and that this is it. I think that we're like kind of lost in that way. It's simple.
Well, all right. When they tell you that, like when you're a bad person, right? And for some reason you never
bad person to who?
No. But that's what we're getting at. Like society's definition of a bad person. You're a child rapist. Like there's not too many ways to chalk it up where that's ever going to be okay, right? All right, you're a bad person. You're a child rapist, right? They tell you you live like that and you go to hell, right? And then it's just this kind of like over exaggerated, like lake of fire, pits, demons poking at you. It sounds like something that you do. Like that'd be fear-based.
It's fear-based.
Yeah, right. And
that's
then
right.
Heaven would be, would be the treat. Oh, you heaven's so amazing. You get to do this. You get to do that. Well, that's where it starts playing with souls. Like I'm just saying, like is there a punishment or not afterwards? Are you?
I don't believe so. No.
If there's multiple realities, like do you move on to the next one? What about the child rapist? Is he going to be doing the same thing when he moves forward? Do you know what I'm saying?
Let's say you lived 1,000 lives.
Uh-huh.
And in one of those 1,000 lives, you were abused and fucked up and, harmed, if you will. And you became mentally fractured and you became twisted and you ended up doing quote unquote evil things because of the trauma that you experienced.
Yeah.
And that's one of your 1,000 lives.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Are you bad? Are you bad? Or is it just one of your 1,000 life experiences that you've had?
That life would be bad. Yeah.
And should it be paid for in some way?
Well, again, I mean, are we going heaven and hell, or are we going on?
I don't think that there is heaven and hell.
All right, yeah, okay, good. So we agree on that. You know what I mean? All right.
And then people get scared at that idea, like, well, if there's no consequences, then people could just do whatever they want, and then they're going to do horrible things.
People do whatever they want.
But I'm saying that, like, no, I'm saying that if people knew the truth and understood the nature of reality, they would be inclined to do good things because we're all made from the source material that is God, which is the permeation of love, if you will. Yeah. And it's just that we don't remember that we deviate from that and we go astray from that, if you will. Yeah. It's just all evil and all bad, as we like to call it, if you will, comes from ignorance and confusion and nothing else. No one is completely clear-headed and understands exactly what's going on and has no emotional trauma and decides to do bad things. Yeah. And that's why I don't think that God judges anyone in that way. I think that he gives us clues and lessons as to how to come into what's the word I'm looking for? When you get dialed in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolved, like the
not absolved, like to come in alignment. To come in alignment with nature and that which is. And I think that we deviate from that and we experience those things to show us why it's right and good to do that. And then we ultimately end up choosing that through our bad and horrible experiences and through our pain. Mm-hmm. So like all those lives that you live where you did horrible shit, or even this one, if you will, when you realize why it was bad and why it was wrong, you're going to choose the light. And it says right in the Bible that like you have free will and you have to choose. Yeah. It's not something that's going to be ever forced upon you. And you don't choose something because someone told you to or because you were told that it's the right thing. You choose it because you believe it. Yeah. And you only believe it via experience. Yeah. So depending on who you are and what you need to experience to come to that ultimate conclusion, That's what you fucking need.
Yeah.
And I think that there's old souls and young souls. I think some of us have done this a lot of times.
Yeah.
And that's why there's people that have like weird like intuition or intelligence or abilities. And I think that there's people that like live until they're 90 years old and they seem childish, right? I think there's old souls and young souls.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any right and wrong. I just think that there's an infinite amount of tiers of existence that goes on forever. And it always changes and it always evolves and it never stays stagnant. It never stays the same. And I think that this is one of many realms.
Okay.
I think that there's
so
an
no
infinity.
creator, like you said.
The
just some
creator is
ideas,
that which
the
is.
love,
It
right?
exists.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
that God is just consciousness. And I think that consciousness created other forms of
So
expression.
It's a big system that you're
It's
just following.
It's expression.
Along, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. I think that the only goal of human existence outside of like, like learning and like getting to know, which by the way, God is basically yourself more or less. It's just another expression of if there's only one material, like if I cut down a tree and there's a log and I make a chair and a table and a bench, which one is the tree?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
But they're completely different expressions of that same base material.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think there is a right and wrong. I think everyone plays their role. I think everyone does their part. I think we all experience everything at some point or another. That's what I actually think. So I'm just saying, like, we got to be careful with all this shit of trying to, like, make things and manifest things. I think that we should be humbled and we should learn how to listen and use our intuition and follow our hearts. I think the most important thing that a human being can do, which will generate, like, all of your, like, whatever, prosperity, if you will, is to be an authentic expression of yourself. I think that's what God honors, is authenticity and nothing else.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And you don't think sometimes you don't think people would be very, very terrified if let's say it is just a one and done and you got to do everything you can in this one go around. And that doesn't seem very fair, does it? Right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, but
exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying what I'm saying makes more sense. Does that seem right to you?
No.
If my dumbass primate mind can go, that's fucked up, that isn't right.
Yeah.
This makes way more sense, doesn't it?
It depends on your belief system. I think that if you are given this beautiful gift of
so
life,
you think God
and
creates
you squander it.
And put you here.
No, I don't think God.
I'm saying. Let me just go through this.
I got you.
So, like, you get created and you get born. You're put on this planet, and you don't choose your parents or your circumstances or whatever the fuck is happening around you, and you just end up getting all kinds of fucked up against your will, and then you go through life dealing with that, confused, trying to work it out. You think God's going, "What a piece of shit." I made him confused. I made him knowing nothing. I made him susceptible to all these things. I understand how this game works because I created it this way, but I'm going to judge you for it, even though I set it up this way. I don't believe that. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, like,
don't believe it. Would you do that?
Lots of factors, like okay, what if you're retarded and you beat somebody to death? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different things that.
Yes.
You
What
know?
if?
Yeah.
What
right?
if indeed?
Yeah.
You think God goes, he shouldn't have done that, even though he had no choice? Clearly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
think it was these two people and how their DNA lined up, and for some reason there was some type of chance.
There's a myriad of factors.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Think about as you go through your day, you have like emotional states, right?
Yeah.
And you have moods.
Yeah.
And your moods fluctuate and change throughout your day.
Yeah.
People have a really bad habit of doing what I call snapshot thinking, of like I'm this.
Yeah.
Dude, throughout my day, I'm like 20 different people. Sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a combination of multiple. Usually I'm a combination of multiple emotions. Some have a higher weighted average than others. Sometimes I'm more angry than sad, more happy than not, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing.
Kind of the default setting, who you are as a person, then things get higher and lower, and then I got you. Okay.
And so now you're revolving through all these different emotional and mental states, right? Based on your emotions and things like that. And at any point in time, a situation can occur and catch you in any one of these variety of emotional places and circumstances, right? And that's completely random.
Yeah.
So depending on when that comes and hits you, your behavior changes dramatically.
Yeah.
And you're saying that God's going to hold you accountable for that, even though you don't know how to control it. He never told you how or equipped you to do so. But if you don't do it right, you're going to fucking hell. That's dumb. It's fucking dumb. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think it's all learning.
You do believe a God, right, or a creator? Or
I believe,
like that, right?
yes, yes, but not in the traditional sense that people think.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier,
I call it that which is.
Right. Yeah, and so there has to be an opposite, right? So is there somebody that's taking any bad, or nobody's bad?
Do you have two sides to yourself?
Sure, everybody does.
Why wouldn't that be a reflection?
Well, again,
are they right and wrong?
It could be, you know, depends on the choices you make. You know what I mean? Isn't that anything? That's anybody. I could choose to be broke and work through the hard times and get the rent money, or I could choose to go fucking knock off an old lady. You get what I mean?
Yes, but you're doing that very base. All right, so you could choose to be broke, or you could choose to knock off an old lady, right?
Yeah.
So if you're born in the 1950s, say 60s and 70s, when the economy was a lot better than it is now, and it was a lot easier, you just had to get a job and just go to that job every day. And not only did you have enough money to pay for yourself, you could also provide for your family, take vacations, have retirement, and that was guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So in that time frame, there's a lot more of population that's going to choose that route than chooses to knock off an old lady.
Yeah.
But now in this society where the game is so fucked up and so rigged, and we all know that it's abysmal, and almost no matter what you do, you're going to stay broke because the deck is stacked against you, and things are just way harder than they were. Think about your boomers. That generation had it the easiest of any other generation on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
And you don't think that's going to affect your character and your decision making throughout time? So it's just a matter of environments that you're in. Yeah. So why would God judge you for one or the other? It's not the same in this one that it is in this one.
But it's still the same situation. It's just circumstantial. So again,
no, it's not the same situation.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because one of them it's easier to accomplish X, and one of them it's not. So that affects people.
Okay, it's 1970s and you're in the South Bronx and you're just as broke and you're a little black kid, right? And now you have the same decision to see your family on the street. And it was hard then. Same time in history.
I got you on this, by the way. Go ahead.
Okay, same time in history. And now you're left with those two choices again, or you know, a myriad of other choices that you could choose from, whether they be good or bad. And honestly, I think it's left up to desperation or what you're willing to do.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the environment that is the overall environment that we're in now creates more desperation than one that existed in the past. So take that same black kid that's in the Bronx and disenfranchised, and he ends up doing whatever X, Y, and Z in the same time frame. And then take him out of the Bronx and have him born into a well-to-do family that has a good head on their shoulders. Different person entirely.
Sure.
So now the overall environment creates more of the other kid because of the circumstances than it does that kid. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of you just make decisions and it's all up to you and all that crap. It's not only a matter of that, man.
Yeah.
Things matter. What happens to you matters.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And we've seen plenty of examples.
But I don't think God's looking down you should have done just as good as you would have done over here, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't see that. That doesn't register with me. Doesn't resonate. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey man, listen.
What's your belief system? Real quick. Last one.
I think it's dealt with, mine's solely circumstantial, who your parents are and where you're born and what you do, and you take what you got and you do the best, and you know, and fucking it's a luck system, man. Either you're born into something really good and things go really easy for you, or you're born and you have this beautiful voice and you can sing, or you have an eye for art and you can go down there and do something,
or you got nothing
like that, or you got nothing. And that's it. And I think it's very cold. But I think people, that would scare a lot of people to think that they don't matter as much as they feel they do, because we all inside of ourselves, it's man, it's you matter to a lot of people right now, your family and everything like that, and you have those raw emotions coming through you, right? But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're just these little specks of dust, right? I mean, if a meteor hits tomorrow, I mean, the people on the other side of the world are just going to, tsunamis happen all the time in Japan. I don't know any of those people. They've been now washed out. So now, and listen,
but is a speck of dust any more or less important than a mountain?
Yeah.
Why?
You can climb a mountain.
So if you take that speck of dust and then reverse time a million years, I guarantee you that speck of dust was part of a mountain, connected to a mountain, which is a mountain.
Yeah.
So the best way I could explain it is something, I'll get into that another time. Yeah. But basically, think of a tree. So you have a tree that has the roots in the fucking ground, right? And then it goes up and there's branches and there's leaves on the tree. Yeah. And then that's a tree, right? It's one whole tree. Yeah. And that tree is great. And then one of the leaves from the tree falls off and hits the ground. Is the leaf the tree?
Sure. It's a part of it, right?
No. So it's only significant if it's attached to the entire tree. not on its own? It's not still just as important as it was before?
Is it
So
playing a role of the tree?
because it became a speck of dust after hundreds of thousands of years of water hitting the side of the fucking mountain or whatever and breaking it down, and now it's dust, it's still the same mountain that it was before. It's just broken down into parts.
Well,
everything is one thing is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nothing is more or less important than anything else because it all comes from one base place. At one point we were all the mountain.
Yeah. Well, the stump's more important than one of the leaves, right?
Why?
I mean, well, it's the foundation. It's the roots that holds things together, that brings up.
But the leaves come down and they
you know?
decay and they enrich the soil, and the soil grows our food.
Yeah, I do think
so. Without the
I think
stump,
we're
you
all
don't have the
playing-
leaves, and without
Yeah.
the leaves, you don't have the soil, and without the soil, you don't have the food.
Yeah. Well,
Without the rain, you don't have the stump. Which
Yeah.
one's more important? I'm saying that it's all the same thing.
I think that as individuals that, and again, the ones that are willing to go out and do it, like, see, I'm telling you, I don't mean to sound so cold and disconnected.
I just want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
I'm not judging.
Yeah,
we're just exchanging
Yeah,
recipes.
I don't mean to sound so cold and disconnected. I just think that for some reason, every time I hear somebody's theory on the afterlife, it's always about, you know, what they're going to do going forward, or what they did in the past, or how their God's going to judge them here and this God's going to judge them there. I don't like any of the fear stuff, but we agreed on that. And I just think that you've been given a gift. Sometimes it's a curse. Like, you know, I mean, goddamn, if you're born and you're a product of incest in fucking India, and your life is laying on the
Gypsy
floor,
Rose, baby.
Dude, yeah. Well, how about them kids? The kids that the brothers and sisters they marry. These kids are born deaf, blind, and dumb, and they lay them on little carpets in that sweltering fucking heat, right? What experience are you gonna get that's gonna make you move forward? That's not even pain that you can like judge. It's just pain, an entire life of pain. You know what I mean? I think that those are the unfortunate ones. But I think when they pass, the energy gets out there, and who knows? Maybe the next time, whatever their energy goes
I agree with
into, goes into.
But I
some
don't think
other
your
baby.
consciousness ever ceases.
But then to me that explains the population and how it grows and becomes more. And maybe it's just a lot of our energies coming together and
Yes.
making these babies and bringing it up, and the food women eat, and the men that they go and they drink their water when they're, and that's part of the energy as well. And then now you create life, and it's all part of that. The women, you know, they say, right, whatever goes in through their umbilical cord and these babies are eaten, you know what I mean? Again, energy, you know?
Yes.
So I think that's more so like, and I think life could be a very beautiful gift, or I think it could be a horrible curse. And I think that scares the shit out of people when it could just be that cut and dry. But there's no example of, how come there's just never an example of, you know, God talking back? Or something like that.
See, that I've actually personally experienced that. It's just not in words. It's always like when you have conversations with, like, whatever, the spirit realm, if you want to call it that, God, whatever. There's other entities as well. It's always telepathic.
Yeah.
It's like you're having an actual dialogue and an actual conversation, but you're not hearing it out loud with ears. You're hearing it inside yourself, but you're having a real dialogue. Yeah. You can talk to God. Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. You can talk to anything if you know how to dial into it, more or less. So, like, we think that communication means language, means to speak out loud. But meanwhile, like, whenever, like, think about, like, aliens, right? Whenever people talk about aliens, it's like, oh, they spoke telepathically, like they pushed it into my mind and all that crap. Yeah. So, like, communication isn't just our ability to use air to create our vocal cords to make a sound that you register in your ears. There's way more forms of communication that exist than just that. That's just the one that we're most familiar with. Yeah. Think about even like body language is another form of communication, right?
Absolutely. You can tell a whole story just by
there's
looks
a million ways
to
communicate. So if all of reality is sentient and is conscious and is all based, you know what I mean, from the same source material, how many forms of communication exist that we're just not privy to? So think about it like this, like, we as the human creature, if you will, we have sentience above all other creatures' domain on this planet, right? Like we have rationality, logic, reason, blah, blah, blah. We have way more robust life experience than whatever a hippopotamus does, as far as we are aware anyways, right? Or like a dog. A dog only sees black and white, but we see the whole spectrum of color according to our eyes. But there's actually way more colors and way more forms of light that our eyes don't detect because our equipment does not allow us to.
Yeah.
So think about the limitations of the equipment that you're running on and how much more of reality exists that we're not able to even pick up.
Yeah.
Just like a dog can't see that this is fucking purple and black and that's fucking green and that's blue. You see what I'm saying? Like we know that, but the dog doesn't. So who's to say that
limited to his
so the
abilities,
dog's limited and then we have a higher limitation, but we're not. You think that we see it all? You think an eagle could see from 1,000 miles in the air down to the ground a grub worm? We can't do that shit.
Yeah.
So how much are we actually limited? How much of reality exists that we cannot tell or see? Even a baby, when there's a baby in the room, all this is all the nuance, all the you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
they said the energies, right?
Dude, all
I
that
heard
exists,
yeah.
all that exists, whatever. But that baby's sitting there in the crib and confused and has no fucking idea what's going on until its consciousness develops and enhances and enhances and enhances. So who's to say that our consciousness doesn't keep enhancing and keep growing and we don't keep seeing more and more and more? Who knows where this is going?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different belief systems out there. You could be like him, you could be like me, you could be like the church, but never be like that piece of shit.
I was wondering what the pause was. That's hilarious.
I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna roll
Use
in
the
there.
effect, bro. There's a lag.
Shit, I wish it was gonna go just a little.
Are you playing a whole song?
No, God no. Fuck up, Bill. Dude, I think it does play the whole song. But I was looking for one that could kind of be relevant. Whoa, hey, somebody up! I'm second it well.
Do you want to cut this?
Dude, I think we did great.
Yeah?
I think we did fantastic.
Do you want the effect?
Yeah, but wait, can I say something before the effect?
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, I appreciate the talk tonight. I think you got me really straightened out. If there's anything that, you know what I mean? And man, what we did come in here and do, come on, baby.
Dude, thank you, by the way. Thanks for
the
showing up and putting the work in,
Dude,
man. I
come
appreciate
on.
that shit.
Absolutely.
So we're going forward, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was, a little esoteric, a little bit wild, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Right? Ready?
Oh, effect. Bring us out with it, too.
That being said, always remember, have your conversations, not their conversations. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your community. Until next time, let's be good people again. God bless and peace. Caw.
That adds a lot of character to that.
It's funny,
doesn't it? Yeah. Good. And we killed a lot.